What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining me on D's Analysis. We're going to be looking at MSTR and Bitcoin today. So as you can see, we closed at 330.26 here on MSTR. We have 1 day and 18 hours left, so pretty much 2 trading days. As you can see here on the daily, on a smaller time frame, you can see this structure was actually compromised. We closed underneath it. Closing underneath these wicks, which kind of created this key level right here, the structure. Like I said, it's a structure or key level on a smaller time frame. We close underneath it. So just like we always talk about, when you close underneath the structure, you start to look for some sort of retest to see if we can actually break through. And you have 2 options. You actually do break through, retest, and continue up, or you find a rejection and continue this move down further. Hopefully that's not the case, but that's kind of what we're looking at for now, as we talked about previously. So we did pretty much create fresh lows in terms of actual closes. We've been consecutively closing lower and lower since August 26th. Tuesday last week, we've kind of just been slowly trending lower and lower in terms of closes. When we look at the daily SMA, you can see the 20 is about to break that 200, which we've been talking about. The 20 has broken the 50, and that was this significant move here. Kind of just been going sideways, so I kind of expect the moving averages to kind of smoothen out and just run sideways temporarily before some kind of major move. Now, we are finding that rejection off of the 50-week moving average. We tried pushing up, we pushed all the way up to 348, got rejected, and now we're sitting at 330. So we'll see if this weekly closes inside of this gray shaded area here. That would pretty much start to break through the structure. It wouldn't be a complete breakthrough because we'd have to fall all the way down to around 310. But if we close anywhere from 324 to about 313 or 312, then we're somewhere in that ballpark of falling inside of the structure. So of course we want to hold that because that's a major level that's been established all the way back over here. But of course MSTR has a mind of its own. As you can see today, Bitcoin didn't do terrible, but MSTR still managed to fall 3%. So this is the 4-hour time frame. So this is a little bit smaller of a sample, but you can definitely see the deviation that happened here. As this was rising up, you can see MSTR was falling. Very short. It's a small, sample size, but it does happen occasionally. That's the third-party risk that you take on when you hop into something like MSTR. When you're in a stock like MSTR, you have to accept selling ATM, funding other sources of preferred shares, all that kind of stuff that they do. You have to accept that because that's part of the third-party risk that we talk about here on the channel. Of course, when you purchase Bitcoin directly, you don't have to worry about any of that, but you're not going to get the leverage to the upside. As of lately, MSTR has pretty much been leveraged to the downside and not leveraged to the upside. So it's been following Bitcoin to the downside, but not following it to the upside. We'll see if that changes in the future. And when we take a look here on the weekly Bollinger Bands, we're actually at the green band. So if we fall through the band, I don't expect us to stay there for too long. I would expect a move right back into the band. We don't spend much time outside of it. You can see the last couple times we made it outside of it, it was short-lived. We made it out, we closed outside of it for the end of the week, and then the following week we fell right back inside. So I do kind of expect something like that if we were to close underneath those Bollinger Bands. On the daily, we're still in between the middle band and the bottom band, so we could see a little bit further downside for the daily Bollinger Bands before actually making contact with the green band. But the same rules apply. You can see it made it outside of the green band, and then 2 trading days later, we were back inside of it, pushing up higher, trying to make it to the blue band. On the weekly RSI, we ended up getting our double top that we were talking about. That it looked like it was forming. It looks like it actually played out completely, completed the move. and we've created fresh lows just slightly. Last time we made it to this area, we turned back around. Now we made it a little bit higher the other times, and this time we're a little bit lower slightly. We'll see if we can find a bottom here, or if we continue all the way down to oversold territory, which is all the way down to that 30 mark. We're currently sitting at around 45 at the moment. That's here on the weekly RSI. For the daily RSI, we do have a trend established to the downside. As you can see here, when you connect those levels, actually looks like we could be getting potentially a breakout. Depends on how you draw it. Just a quick little drawing. Could be a breakout. It is breaking out of this yellow moving average as well, and it actually fell underneath it again. So we'll see if it creates a triple top and continues to move down, or if this is if it's going to be able to reclaim this yellow moving average and start to continue this momentum up higher. On a very short term view, you can see from August 19th, we've actually been creating some kind of upward sloping structure. If we lose that structure and break 31.89, then I could see us making it all the way down to 30 and surpassing that, maybe into the high 20s on the daily RSI, and then more than likely finding a bottom, because we normally don't spend too much time underneath the 30 mark either. As you can see, we don't spend much time underneath there. We'll make it there. We might dip temporarily for maybe a month or so, and then we skyrocket right back. So that's kind of what I expect to happen if we make it down to the 30 mark. I expect some kind of quick move, unless this was the move right here, which was down to around 32 roughly on the RSI. So maybe that was our bottom, but expect more downside just in case. You want to be ready for both moves. And you still have to be ready for the potential short-term bear flag if that were to play out. So that you have to keep that in mind, and you can't forget about that. The first one played out, and now this one could potentially be playing out. And we draw the fib to the downside. We already bounced off the 382, and we retested the 236, and now we're continuing down. And if we create fresh lows, that starts to open up that idea of that next bear flag. And if we lose this structure, we could see a little bit more downside, and that would probably be the completion of the bear flag. And then maybe we can start looking for some kind of upside. Now, on the flip side, for the bullish scenario, we could actually be forming a head and shoulders right now, or inverse head and shoulders, where we have our left shoulder, our head, and then maybe we create some kind of structure where we push up, retest, and start to push upward, and then that's our right shoulder, and then that's pointing to the upside. So that could also be forming as we break out, retest. It could be an inverse head and shoulders, which would signal higher prices. On Bitcoin, we're looking pretty solid. As you can see, we've been pushing up for 3 days straight, creating higher closes every single day. And now we found a little bit of resistance off of the structure. We'll see if we can break this wick and start to push up to higher levels. But this is a key level right here, at least in terms of this channel that we have here that's been established from around July. So this sideways action right here, this midline of this entire channel, something to be aware of. And like I said, we are finding rejection right now. If we can close back above it, retest, that'd be excellent to try and make it back into this tighter upper part of this channel here. And once we can make it there, now we can start talking about making it to this next upward sloping trend line that we found rejection at multiple times now. In terms of the weekly, we have clean candles all the way up to around 120K. We'll see if we can actually have that play out. It is starting to look pretty solid for now, but we have to get a nice weekly close above these structures, one level at a time. Remember, it's stair stepping its way up because that creates a solid foundation for price. When it comes back down, it creates more levels to fall through as it stair steps back down. Because if you stair step up, then it avoids having a steep sell-off. But once we break that key structure, keep an eye out on this midline here. That's where I think we'll more than likely find our top for the cycle if we can get the momentum and hype around crypto, then we could start talking about touching the upper part of the channel, but that's not my base case scenario. But it has happened prior in 17 over here, in 21 over here, and then this would be 4 years apart, which would put you in 25 sometime, October, November, December, touching the top of this channel. But that also coincides with the price of around 350K, and we're only sitting at 111. Obviously, I would love to see that, but I'm not going to have that as my base case scenario. I think it's on the table, but it might not be the most likely scenario. So make sure you guys drop a like and subscribe. The link for the WAP and Discord is in the bio. Check that out. I'll see you guys in the next one.